People who are exploring their family history may come across a story of a forebearer who died while trying to immigrate to the United States. Records of individuals who did not survive long enough to see the New York City skyline can be found on the ship's manifests. As with immigrants who were subject to special inquiry or hospitalization, a notation was made on the page of the manifest about the status of passengers who expired before reaching their final destination. Some medical assistance was available on board a steamship. A ship's surgeon was responsible for recording the physical and mental health of passengers and crew. They were required to sign an affidavit to this effect, which can typically be found a page or two after a passenger list in our database. However, the trip could still be arduous for those with underlying medical conditions, and unexpected calamities did occur. On this manifest, we see Alfred Buckley, who passed away while traveling with his wife Bertha to Buffalo, New York. A note reading "Deceased, March 22, 1912, can be seen above his name, and his line of the manifest is crossed out. A larger note saying "Died at sea" is written to the right of his name. On this manifest from 1903, a teenage boy named Stanislav has his name crossed out on line number 20. It appears that he was traveling with a brother named Anton, going to see their father on Long Island. To the right of Stanislav's name, we can see "Died at sea" in large letters. The untimely passing of children aboard a ship was also recorded. On this manifest, an infant less than a year old was traveling with her mother when tragedy struck. As with the other passengers, there is a thick line through her entry of the manifest with a note reading "Died at sea" by her name. Crew members were recorded on separate pages of a manifest, which also recorded when they passed away during their time aboard the ship. Here's an example of what that looked like. We can see a young man named Frank Fitzpatrick with his name crossed out and the date of death written to the left of his name. The physical remains of those who died en route to the port of New York faced many different fates, depending on local and international laws of the time. Passengers could be consigned to the deep and buried at sea. Their remains could also be brought to New York City, where they would be interred according to an awaiting family member's wishes. For those whose families did not have the means to pay for a proper burial, immigrant aid societies and charities could provide for their entombment. Various cemeteries in and around New York City were established to provide final resting places for immigrants, such as Silver Lake Cemetery on Staten Island. When the deceased had no family or charitable organization to claim them, they would be buried in a potter's field. The most famous of these is Hart Island, which is still used for this purpose. Regardless of whether someone traveling to the Port of New York survived their trip, their names and information are recorded on the manifest and available in our online search. Our database tries to faithfully record information about the millions of people who sought to reach New York Harbor, even those who did not succeed in doing so because of personal tragedy.
Please check our website for further tips, and if you haven't already, register for a free account on our website. We also invite you to add and follow us on our social media pages. Our handle is Liberty-Ellis FDN. The American Family Immigration History Center showcases famous arrivals on our Twitter page, @Ellis Island.